Hey YouTube, it's Dusk, here with the deck showcase for my Water Nature Light Dragon's Tempo. Several engines go into this deck, starting with my dragon support, the birds. 3 Lux, easy to summon level 2 light creature with Dragon Song, which, as you know, all the birds have to reduce a dragon's mana cost by 1 each. This does, of course, stack, and provides critical defense in case the opponent has removal against them. It does not protect me against my fellow nature players that use Root Trap, but truth be told, I luck out because there aren't that many. Next, 3 Lux. I scoffed at this card when it was first shown, but I take it all back. This thing's pretty darn good. You get 2, even if you can just have 1 out, the hand advantage gained every time you play a dragon is phenomenal. If you can get 2 out, it's a logo scan every time you bring out a dragon, in addition to how broken they already are. More of a tech, but still part of the bird engine, I've added in 1 Balua. I've only ever used this for like maybe 3 duels, but it saved my butt a couple times against a horde of blockers. Speaking of, this deck runs 3 blockers. Star Lantern, your standard blocker in light, level 3, 3000 power. Whenever he blocks, you get to pick an opponent's creature and tap it. Now moving into my Beastkin engine. 3 Prickleback for early game presence and easy Evo bait. Hit and run. Whenever he breaks a shield, you can go back to your hand and later be used as mana if you need to rack up an extra 1 for a dragon but don't know what to get rid of. Now, normally for the Beastkin engine, people use Razorhide. That card actually proved quite bad for this deck. I never got to use the ability at all. So I was essentially paying 3 for a 2000 Beastkin. Completely worthless when I can just use 3 Moonhowler Tribe. Same stats, only without the effect, which I never got to use anyway. Only 2 Bronze Arm Sabertooths. If you can get this thing off early in the game, it really does wonders during this format. Double Breaker can attack the moment it comes out, and with its 1 with nature ability, if it ever gets banished, boom, it's a lot easier to bring out my dragons, in addition to the advantage given from the birds. Speaking of dragons, Flame Spike Tatsurion, a Beastkin evolution that can have its cost reduced by the birds, and until we get the Monarchs in Clash of the Duel Masters, can run over anything. A pain in the neck to most control players based off what they have told me. Moving on to Celestial Dragons. 2 copies of Lyra the Blazing Sun. I really wanted to make this 3, but I was already at 43 cards. Level 6, 6000 Double Breaker, and when it comes out, you get to pick one of your opponent's creatures, tap it, and it cannot untap at the start of their next turn. Or you can just pick a creature that's already tapped and freeze it anyway. A nice little stun, but not that good against Rush, or if the enemy's already brought out a lot of creatures, since this deck lacks mass removal. Three Andromedas for stall and beat down after the turn after it comes out. Level 9, 11,500 power, Double Breaker. When it comes out, you have to take the top 2 cards of your deck and put them into shields. So it was just brought to my attention today, if the opponent uses a Water Spout Gargoyle, you don't want to keep summoning this, even though otherwise it is a fantastic card. You're just better off putting it into mana the next turn, as they will just make you deck yourself out, taking advantage of your summoning sickness turn to boot. Nice little bonus with him, whenever the opponent attacks your shields or you, they have to tap an extra creature. This goes very well with the dragon I'll be getting to in a bit. but first, my last Celestial Dragon, 2 copies of Orion. A level 9, 10,500 creature with Double Breaker and Laser Lances. When he comes out, you get to pick up to 3 of your opponent's creatures and tap them. This effect is really good when your opponent's got blockers and you just need to pretend a few of them don't exist to push for game. If they can somehow get rid of it, he has the 3-headed ability. You get to look at the top 3 cards of your deck. Any of them are non-evolution light creatures, you can bring them out to the battle zone. I've actually had one fun duel where an opponent banished Orion with a Terror Pit, and one of the top 3 cards was another Orion. Tapped their blockers and finished the game right then and there. Now, the last dragon of my set, being a water dragon, 2 copies of Iceal of the Frozen Wastes. Hearing a lot of people give disapproval of this card, but when used in tandem with the Celestial Dragon engine, it's got its moments. I'll just put it that way. A level 8, 11,000 power creature, a good beater if you can get it out at turn 8 or earlier, with the help of the birds and ramp this deck can provide. Double Breaker and Arctic Winds. Whenever this creature is tapped, none of your opponent's creatures can untap at the start of their next turn. So yeah, combine that with all the tapping cards of this deck, and it's a nice lockdown. On to my spells. I've only got 3 non-shield blasts, and that is 3 logo scans. Tap 3, draw 2. The most standard of search cards. For shield blasts, I have 3 Sprout. Tap 2, take the top card of your deck, put into mana. Help bump you up to those dragons quicker if the birds aren't doing it for you. 3 Bottle of Wishes. Wild card. Shuffle your deck, reveal the top card. If it's a non-evolution creature, bring it out to the battle zone. If it's a spell level 7 or less, cast it for free. Anything else, straight to the hand. In theory, you can't go wrong with this, but it's flopped for me once or twice. So you might actually want to bring a notepad if you're using this to keep track of what cards are still in your deck and what the probability is of it being any good. Considering taking out 1 for a trial and error. Three Stormspark Blasts. The key counter of the deck, if you can have it in your shields late game, this will probably win you the match. If your opponent has lots of creatures out and you've already brought out Iceal, you want to activate this then to just tap all the enemy creatures, attack one of their creatures with Iceal, and lock everything into place. And finally, the only real removal the deck has to its name, 3 Root Traps. Tap 7, put an enemy's creature into mana. This does generate them advantage, but the hope is that with all these dragons, that advantage won't really matter. That and there are just some creatures you cannot have sticking around this format. That's the deck. Tell me what you guys think. Like, comment, subscribe, check out my other videos. If you would like to duel me online via Skype, my Skype is Downtown Dusk, same as the channel. If not, shoot me a PM on YouTube, and I guess we can just talk about Kaijudo. And that's all I got for you guys. See you later.